Hey folks, Grant from Gunspot here for thearmorylife.com. In today's video, we're going to be talking about dialing or holding for wind and elevation. All right, folks, so dialing versus holding. This concept may be new to some folks that are into long-range shooting, and to kind of explain the historical perspective, I'll take you back to when I first was issued my first sniper rifle, had an age-old duplex reticle. A lot of you are probably still running a duplex reticle, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, there are some limitations to a duplex reticle as compared to a tactical or milling style of reticle. The benefit of a tactical or milling reticle is the ability to use hold-offs because you have precise lines attached to the reticle or as part of the reticle itself that you can associate with a particular amount of data or dope to use in elevation or windage. So the difference between dialing and holding really comes down to an issue of speed. If you have the time to shoot long range and you're banging steel, for instance, that's not going to get up and walk away, you can dial and there's not anything wrong with dialing. But as soon as you have the need for speed, every time you start touching that dial, adding on or taking off, you are increasing the likelihood that that game animal escapes or your threat escapes if you're working from a sniper perspective. And we don't always have that luxury of time in either of those two environments. So we may not have that time to dial, and it's better if we go into the reticle utilizing pre-established holding points on the reticle itself that translate to what we would dial on the optic if we were dialing. All right, so hypothetical situation here to best describe maybe the pros and cons of either dialing or holding. I know from previous engagements that for my 6.5 shooting 140 grain AMAX, it needs basically 2.2 mils of adjustment in elevation to get my bullet to that 425 mark. So if I take the time to take my eye out of the scope, put it onto my elevation knob, and adjust to that 2.2 mark, there is time that I have taken my eye off of that game animal or that threat. If I'm in the sniper world, it could escape, it could do damage, it could be gone, and I would lose that opportunity. Whereas a holding in that particular situation, if I have the reticle like this G3 reticle, I can go to my 2 mil mark and then just give a little bit extra of the hold to make up that 0.2 of a mil, and I'm going to get an effective hit provided that my target isn't minute of angle or smaller. So one other pro of holds as compared to dialing is the possibility that if I dial and dial and take off and add on and take off and add on in a whole day's shooting, there's probably going to be the possibility that I make, through human error, the mistake of maybe pushing the knob in the wrong direction. And so I miss because I dialed the wrong information. In a holding type situation, elevation is always going to affect you in one direction. Okay, so I'm going to hold either more or I'm going to hold less. So I'm working on that bottom half of my viewing plane, and so it's much easier to not mess up the dial when you're using holds. So this has been the difference of dialing versus holds. Thanks for watching, and remember, train hard, your family deserves it.